Well, I feel awful. Anyways, hey guys, so sorry that I'm a little bit abnormally late for this stream, but at the same time, when I think about it, because I don't show up at this time normally, it may give people an opportunity to catch me or maybe not. But, anyways, I had a random thought. And honestly, this topic has been on my long list of topics for quite some time, but I feel like now it's appropriate to talk about it because it's pretty relevant to my current physical state, and that is I ate like crap, and therefore I feel like crap. And then when I think about why I ate like crap, is because I ended up staying a little later for my shift today, which, if I think about it, if I were to really combine the time that I spent working today, it would be almost 9 hours. So, yeah, I was ready to go. So, needless to say, I was trying to not be on my feet for much longer. So, therefore, I went to buy some fast food, and that's all that I ate. And I definitely do not have my caloric intake that is recommended for someone like me. And I definitely did not get my protein. So, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling the effects. So then I saw this topic and I'm like, you know what? Would I have been deterred from having done this if it would have been pricier? If, like, fast food is actually pretty expensive the way it is, but if there was actually a legit tax that actually made foods like this more expensive, would that have kept me from buying it? And obviously, I have to say yes because I'm on a pretty like tight budget. I don't have a job that we can say is brings me a lot of money to like be financially set and all that. So I feel like that would help me be more responsible about my finances and how I invest money when it comes to food. And even if I'm in so much pain when it comes to my feet that I just beg to not be standing on them any longer, I feel like I would still make the sacrifice to be on my feet cooking just to eat better and also to save money because taxes are terrible in a situation like this, and I don't need to be throwing away money that I don't have if I get penalized for doing something like that. But also, I like to look at it more as taking the initiative about the overall health of citizens being taken care of because um, there is health issues going around. There are health issues going around, and a lot of it has to do with the quality of food being terrible. Like the foods that are cheap and affordable are usually not that healthy. But sometimes that's all that people can afford. That's all that people can get, especially if you have a big family and you do not necessarily have a big income. So I get it. I feel like most people are not unhealthy because they want to. It's just because that's all they can get um, without having to just burn their entire paycheck on just food. Um, but at the same time, I feel like if there was a tax like this, um, maybe people would be a little more health conscious about it. But if you're going to tax people in a specific way, you should tell the consumer why that tax is in place. Because I feel like some of the folks who make bad eating choices, they just don't know any better. And in modern days, we should all be experts about healthy eating and how we should eat and everything, given that there's so much information, everything. that you can find in the internet. It seems like people are becoming more aware of this type of stuff, but not everyone gets it. So I'm thinking maybe if you're going to tax people, tell them why. Don't just tax for the sake of taxing. Excuse me. So, yeah, I would agree that this tax could be beneficial, but I feel like the way that it is enforced is as important as, just having the tax in place in the first place. So I think the way they should go about this is like a surgeon general warning or something. You know, eating this type of stuff for prolonged periods of time has this type of consequences. Um, so therefore, to to discourage that, we're going to implement this particular tax. Um, is there such thing as an excise tax on cigarettes, or is that just on gasoline? I forget, but there used to be, or there is, this special tax that only certain products get. Um, and I remember it being called the excise or something. Um, so yeah, I hope that that applies to cigarettes too, because I feel like I remember learning that in civics. But anyways, I wouldn't know, because I don't mess with that. So yeah, you guys, to pretty much wrap this up and finalize my opinion, yes, I think it would be beneficial to have this implemented, just like I think I made a stream about should people be penalized for being overweight or something, and I said, well, if in the name of health, I think it's a good thing, it's kind of complicated because you don't want to really make it seem like you're discriminating against people and therefore you're trying to charge people a little differently just because of how they're shaped or something. But if it's in the name of health, I don't see any evil behind it. Quite the opposite. I think that we are being done a favor, which is someone is thinking out there for us, seeing the bigger picture. It's like when you're at work, and if it weren't for that money that gets automatically deducted from your paycheck, you would not think about setting that money aside for emergencies or car insurance. You would not be thinking about setting aside a couple of dollars to respond to an emergency once you get involved in an accident, you know? So I know that insurance is not really reliable because they sometimes may pay. Sometimes they may pay you, sometimes they may not, depending on what happens. So, like, but in a situation like that, the fact that that exists, it's doing all of us a favor because I know that I wouldn't be thinking about setting aside a few dollars to respond to an emergency of that kind. So, same thing with health, I guess. We would not be thinking about setting some money aside to respond to any issues that come about. All right, I think I've rambled enough. Let me see what you guys are saying. No, let me see. Oh God, that's not clear. The government, people can make their own choices. Only idiots need daddy's control. I see what you're saying about that. And like I mentioned, I feel like some people just genuinely do not know about how to make healthier options. Not everyone understands that processed foods are bad, or let alone how to identify processed foods. So I like this really cool quote that says something along the lines of, if your grandmother would not recognize it as food, do not buy it. But now the problem is that eventually I'll become a grandmother and then I'll recognize some things as foods. So that quote is going to be invalid at some point. So I guess we should say great grandmothers beginning soon enough. You know what I mean? The government shouldn't have the right to say, I'm going to make you pay to eat a certain way. Your freedom of choice is very important. I get that. I really do. Um, but at the same time, because in the present there is this ongoing problem of like obesity and thus health issues associated with that, if the government wants to get involved to help, then why not? But at the same time, I remember what my man, uh, who said this? Who said this? I don't want to say it was Jim Morrison, but maybe it was Jim Morrison. Anyway, someone out there said that the nine most terrifying words in the English language are I'm from the government and I'm here to help. So, I get it. But like I said, in some countries it seems to work, like being penalized for doing certain things. It's all about discipline. I understand that freedom is awesome, but there has to be discipline. There has to be control. And I feel like we have lost touch with that. We have lost touch with nature. We have lost touch of how to, like, not even women know how to give birth naturally. See what I mean? Like, who says that you have to be at a clinic to give birth? Of course, modern days you have to because during a complication you wouldn't know what to do, but at least, old people knew what they were doing. But the modern female has no clue. That's frightening. So, anyways, I'm just rambling now, but I'm just trying to illustrate the point a little differently. Where did I leave off? Your freedom of choice is important. Only the consumer pays the tax. They just add to the price and the money goes to who or where. See, that's a good point because I'm thinking, okay, if you're going to pay extra for this food, we shouldn't be benefiting government officials who are just sitting in their office all nice and comfortably. In a situation like that, I feel like it should be established that this money go to fund maybe hospitals or something, um, especially the ones that are not for profit. But at the same time, I would want to fund the public ones because that's where people usually can go. But I don't know. That's a good point. I was completely oblivious to that, so I'm glad you pointed that out. I'm not racist, but I feel like white people, males, are the only ones that understand freedom. It's all right. You're entitled to what you're saying. Um, Everyone's perception is different. The government already had a Food and Drug Administration that demands all product be labeled with all ingredients. See, okay, there is some transparency going on, but it does not mean that the consumer understands what's on that label. It should be the responsibility of the consumer to recognize the good ingredients, like simple words like, I don't know, if you have lemon juice, it should be the first ingredient that you see should be lemons, not a bunch of other additives. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I think people need to be trained to read that, but at the same time, I don't blame people for being ignorant like that because you would expect that if something is being advertised as food, it is nourishment. Like if I go to the store right now and I go get juice, then I shouldn't have to go through the trouble and stress of reading every single label to determine the one that's more close to nature, more close to what I'm looking for. See what I mean? And then because of all those terrible ingredients, you're not getting the nutritional value that you believe you are supposed to be getting. See what I mean? So I think that the first step before taxing anything has to be fix the education system. Teach this stuff in school. And then if we're not getting proper results from a uh, like population that's educated, then that's when we make the next. move, something extreme as taxing differently. It's like all the minorities take over the cities and need laws to help them be normal. Who will track the money to make sure it goes to help obesity and diabetes? See, good question. I'm not gonna lie, I don't have an answer for that. I don't have a solution for that. But in a situation like that, what I can say is that somehow we need to make sure that government officials are held accountable, because it's not only on this topic that I'm just randomly bringing up. I think that overall they're not representing us correctly. So I feel it's because we are allowing them to get away with doing a bad job, with which is not representing us properly. So when we somehow figure out how to hold them accountable, then I believe such a move like this hypothetical thing that I'm just discussing would be effective. I was born at home. I'm 21. Tax only funds public, not nonprofits. Nonprofits are private corporations. Yeah, you're right. I guess I completely messed that up. Thanks for calling me out. I knew I felt weird when I said that. So yeah, you're right. Good day, Zamri. Hey, Viking. We're taught biology and anatomy in high school, which is government mandated. See, yeah, biology and anatomy, that's good stuff. I honestly did not take a full anatomy course. I learned anatomy from other courses that discussed anatomy topics. But I guess depending on which school district you go to, your education will be different. Like I know at my school, I wanted to take geology because my interest and focus was in the natural sciences, but because not enough people signed up for it, I couldn't take it. So, um, I guess when it comes to anatomy, it's not available for everybody, and I think it should be available for everybody. Also, should be available for everybody a health class that discusses the reading the food labels and understanding the ingredients and focusing on nutrition and being actually physically active. I did not learn anything about exercise and doing cardio and building muscle until I was out and I began to meet people who were fit and knew what they were doing so that they could pass along the info to me and so that I knew what to look for, you know? Um, or if you go to a nutrition store, it feels like they have all of this information that you otherwise wouldn't have found out. Why does it have to be that way? Why can our education system not be systematic? Like the quality of education that I got, I'm pretty sure is inferior to other people's. Like my high school experience definitely cannot compare to a school district from, I don't know, a more advanced neighborhood. See what I'm saying? So do not misunderstand me. I do want to say that the consumer is absolutely responsible, but at the same time, you are not the source of information. If you are the source of information, if you have the information, you in a sense are responsible for how it gets distributed. So not everyone has access to this. So I would encourage that we figure out the way to make this essential info a priority, especially during the early stages of human development, which is, your childhood. Learn the correct stuff, learn the good habits, learn the dangers of processed foods and stuff like that, and being sedentary. Somehow make children aware of the reality of this and not a class that you just pass. You just cram the information to pass a test, but you don't really apply it in your life, PE never did anything for me. Like it felt like an optional activity really. I would always participate, of course, but I had no idea about the work that it takes to be actually physically fit and capable of some stuff. See what I mean? I hope that you didn't lose my flow there. What I'm trying to show, but anyway, to illustrate. La, 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 la. Okay, here in Australia, we have a tax on pre-prepared food. So if I go to a supermarket and buy barbecue chicken, it has extra tax on it compared to buying an uncooked one from the deli. See, I'm not necessarily sure that here that stuff is taxed like that, but what I can tell you is that prepared foods are significantly pricier than the raw stuff. Um, but honestly, the way I look at it is, since I work in retail, is that labor is what costs. You have to have someone prepare that stuff. If you go to the produce section and you buy cut up fruits and veggies, it's going to be pricier because someone had to go through the trouble of chopping that stuff up really good, really finely diced, and everything. Shove it in a container, weigh it for you, and then boom, you know? Um, but I do not think that has anything to do with a tax. Now, something that is regulated in a way is EBT, which is food stamps. Um, you cannot purchase hot items with food stamps. And I think that's cool because I feel like some people misuse food stamps a bit. So yeah, I'm not sure if you were aware of that, but just to throw that out there. Beard, same in US and unprepared is not taxed. Because the government's job is to nanny people, in the good old days, a mob would have gathered up their rifles and shotguns and strangled this kind of thing in the crib. What part of US are you in? You have a mixed accent like New York with a southern thing. UPR. Well, my I'm in the East Coast, southern region, and then yeah, my parents are two different things. Um, but yeah, I'm from the South. I agree, it's very important to inform people. However, the way you approach doing so is important. Taxation is a very controlling way to sway public behavior. And see, I get it because taxation means you have to spend money. People are understandably protective of their money because, you work hard for that stuff. So, yeah, I would expect for that to be um, that kind of conduct. Have a cool story about a similar thing to food stamps we have here. Some charities give out food vouchers. I worked in a supermarket where a single mom came in and spent so well that the manager gave her back the voucher. What? Cool. Huh. Interesting. All right, guys. Well, I have rambled enough about this. I really cannot think of anything else to say on this matter, but yeah, a part of me wants for this to be a thing just because it would definitely deter me from from eating junk, and then just not impose any excuses of, oh, I'm tired, so I'm not gonna cook today, da 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 da, like I feel today. Um, but at the same time, government involvement is something that frightens me already as it is. Like, the government governs people. I get it. Governing people is about controlling, enforcing stuff. And the idea is supposed to be um, maintaining order and stuff. But seriously, just how much control over our lives is someone else superior to us going to have, just because they're from the elite class or something. So, think about marriage. That stuff is the government getting involved in your relationship, something that's supposed to be personal and intimate. So, I don't know. This is one of those things that I am open to the possibility of changing my mind on it. But when I focus on the positive aspects of it, which is hopefully encouraging people to make better choices because um, going the easy route has consequences, then yeah, I want to side with it. But at the same time, the fact that it's the government that we are granting the power to do this, yeah, that's what makes it a little tricky in my book. The problem with not being able to purchase prepared food with EBT is if you are a homeless or a kid with a neglectful parent, you can't buy something to eat. You raise a very good point. Um, but at the same time, I would hope that a neglected child is identified as neglected by the surrounding adults in this child's life and that they take this child away from such a irresponsible parent. Um, and then on the note of homelessness, I'm not sure. Did I ever do a video about this? I know I've been meaning to, but I want to really know what happens with homeless folks. How do they become homeless? Now, I'm not trying to say that we're going to discriminate against them or anything or treat them any different. No, it's just that at least in every single community that I have lived at, we have had aid and shelters, soup kitchens for folks like this. So sometimes I feel like if you're in this grave situation, there is help out there for you. So I don't know. Yeah, I'll see if I ever discuss that topic because I have really wanted to just discuss homelessness because there's aspects of it that I'm not very clear on. Also, does that include things like cans of, say, beef stew? Um, Shoot, I don't remember. If it's just a canned item that's not like, yeah, canned items are usually included. The only thing that I can think about is um, stuff that's hot. Even stuff from the deli that I can recall can be purchased with food stamps as long as it's cold. Um, Interesting. I should know this because I work with this. But yeah, the only thing that I've never been able to approve is hot items. Oh, and of course, anything that you cannot eat. Um, People try to use food stamps on body care items, and I'm like, no. Food stamps. Food. Yes, body care is nourishment for your body, I guess, but it's not ingested. That's the difference. Well. Hello, Lanhart. Most people who are homeless suffer from mental illness. At least that's what I heard. True. It usually goes back to say alcohol abuse or yeah, an abuse of something that ended up derailing them, say in their career or something, and they could never get back up from that. And of course, an individual like that is often deemed as a disgrace to the family. So it's very likely that the family that this person is supposed to count on just turns their back on them and they can never find their path back in life to live a better quality life. See what I mean? Yeah, I'm sorry if I'm not in my best shape right now. I had a rough day trying to get my mind together. My point is, we need to get good mental health facilities to help these people. Yeah, and honestly, in my experience with homeless folks, what makes this particularly complicated for me and tricky is that sometimes these people do not allow for themselves to be helped. Like, we have some folks who regularly come shop with us, and then we know of their situation and we try to help, but they refuse it. So, in a situation like that, what do we do? How do we handle that? You cannot just force this person to go get the aid that they clearly need and they have a right to receive and all. But, I don't know. Some are, but not all. There are some folks that just have a bit of drama, like marriage breakup or natural disaster that causes it. True, natural disaster is a real thing. That's actually one of my biggest fears. I'm like, I'm not sure I'm prepared to cope with one. But I feel like every person at some point in their lives will be affected by a natural disaster, one way or the other. So just gotta stay as safe as we can. I personally used to give money and food for the homeless. I stopped when I gave a $30 to a homeless man and I saw him buy alcohol. That was the end for me helping the homeless. I am glad that you shared that because I have been the same way. I have been around people who give to the homeless, and my instinct is to do it as well, but I don't for two reasons really. One of them is if I were to give them money, I never have cash on me. So that reminds me, one time I asked someone, do you think that the reason why we are moving toward digitalized money, like you have these cards that you can pay with and the terminal to read them. Do you think that in a sense that makes it difficult for, say, homeless people to get money? Because when you get money that's not getting taxed. So I feel like, in a sense, you know how when you file your taxes, you're supposed to report if you got cash in any other way or something? I'm like, what if this is making it tough on homeless people to get help? See what I mean? I know this is crazy. Don't pay too much attention to me on that one. But all of these changes have been so sudden, so abrupt. Um, and I like to critically think about everything. So, but anyways, and then the second reason I don't give is because of that. Because I have seen these people who hold up a sign saying that they're hungry or whatever decline the help or let it go to waste. Like, if you're hungry, why are you letting your food sit on the ground and you're not eating it? And not only that, but they are usually smoking. Well, not usually, but a lot of the times I see them smoking. I'm like, if you are holding a sign saying that you need money, this is how you're spending it. I don't want to contribute to the acceleration of your death, because that's how you're going to invest this money. I shouldn't care. I'm just giving it to you, right? But at the same time, I work hard for it. So I care about my well being enough to invest that money in a healthy way. I'm giving it to you in hopes to help you be better, but I am not helping you be better because you're only thinking about drinking and drugs. What kind of thing am I patronizing? You so that's why I don't give, because I cannot tell people's intentions. So what I would do is, if there was a way for me to write them a check and be like, this check is payable to Chick-fil-A and it's for the amount of $3.51, which is what the Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich costs. And then, yeah, and then if they don't use it at Chick-fil-A to get that chicken sandwich, then I don't lose my money, and I also can rest assured knowing that you did not do a malinvestment. See what I mean? Because there's nothing more in life than I hate than being lied to. I'm giving money to this person with a certain intention, and then they don't do it for that. Again, I'm just giving it to them. I shouldn't care what they do with it, but hello, I could use it. So I use it for things that benefit me. My bills are paid, I eat every day, and so I would expect that people share that view of mine. And if you share that view, I will fund it right along with you. But, I just feel disrespected. I shouldn't make it about me. It's this person who has the situation. But you know what I mean? I could be giving that money to a friend of mine who may need gas for their car or something. Anyway, I've really, really rambled there. Let me see where I stopped that. Anyways, I put in my 2 cents. When I was a teen, I did volunteer work for a city mission helping the homeless and down on their luck. It's really tragic to see the folks come in once a month for a shower and change of clothes. Yes, absolutely. I, yeah, a shower for me is super essential. So to suddenly not have access to that, it would be tough. And most of these folks, they do look like they have gone a while without, a shower. And that affects your health super. Like, yeah. So using cash is difficult, and you just hit the biggest problem. A strong family and wise mating is what I think can help reduce the homeless problem. Absolutely, you have a good point there. Because having a family costs money, and if you do not have enough money to sustain a family, that stuff doesn't maintain by itself. So you will end up on the road if you're not careful. You know, um, you're a member of this society, and this society has rules. So if I have it and they ask respectfully, I'll give it to them. I don't care what they do with it. However, I never give more than a dollar 50. You know, another thing that I'm suspicious about is how needy is this person truly? Now that I think about it, I think I did do a stream on this topic because I'm remembering discussing the folks who wear an ID. Like, some of these people wear IDs for some reason. I wonder what that's about. But shoot, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I have seen people holding signs that say, um, "Homeless, please help, no less than $10." What? Not even I get, like when I was starting at my job, shoot, that was the bare minimum. You know what I mean? For an hour of my job. So, to blatantly ask for a specific amount, that makes you suspicious in my book. So, what's your intention? And then the folks who pretend to be crippled. Like, I remember this one guy who used to walk like he had a broken leg, and he would hold up a sign saying he had a broken leg. But then I would see him walk perfectly fine a few blocks away from his designated location, or in this case, preferred location. Like I said, guys, I I absolutely detest being lied to. So in a situation like that, I feel like I'm being deceived. And when I'm deceived, I get mad, like it's annoying and irritating. If I okay, by that I mean choosing a good mate for marriage, raise a family, strong work ethic, strong moral upbringing, and personally large family that supports each other. And lastly, I, as a man, doing the best I can to work hard to make enough money in my business to help my children in education and their overall well-being. If you don't have a bank account or credit card, it's difficult to pay bills. You can buy gift cards or pay a cell phone bill. Homeless need a cell phone. It's the only way of stability they have. On the last part, most large families break apart and go off on their own solo. True to that. And see, that's the thing. I feel like modern days, that's a little bit of the curse of modern days because it's so easy for you to initiate a life somewhere else and pick up and go. Whereas at some point in history, it was difficult for you to leave your village, you know? So you would remain close to your family. But now, shoot, when I think of my family, we are super dispersed because I have people up north, people down south, people in the middle of the country. I don't know if I have anyone out there in California, but it wouldn't surprise me if I have family in the Pacific. But see what I mean? It's like they're all so far away. And shoot, when I think about it, if I have an opportunity, I'll pack up and go too and not think about it, you know? Um, so, yeah, modern days make it easy for you to just spread out. And then we lose that connection with our family. Um, Shoot, because I know for me, it would be weird to reach out to my family with a situation and then they're like, I know you're family, but I don't feel compelled to support you because we don't have a connection. We've been separated. We ain't tight. We lost touch, you know? So I feel immense shame going up to them, which they're supposed to be a source of support, I guess, because I mean, shoot, you want for your kind to prosper, but we have lost that sense, you know? So, I don't know. I wouldn't want for my family to feel obligated to assist me just because we share the same blood, you know? But at the same time, at some point in history, I feel like the family connection was a very essential thing. And now it's so easy to find people who say they don't have a family, they're far away, or they're disconnected, or they're just not close anymore. See what I mean? But yeah, sometimes I think about what if I started life in a different country? You know, I'm starting completely from scratch. My friends are not there. My family is absolutely not there. That mess is terrifying. But at the same time, I feel like I could adapt rapidly because throughout my life, that is what I have experienced. I haven't had stability when it comes to a family life or friendships. So, you know, it doesn't really intimidate me, but it does worry me sometimes that I am conducting my life in a wrong way because I feel like some of this stuff should be sorted. You know, I don't have a childhood friend. I don't have someone from high school who I stay in touch with. And I know a lot of people don't, but a lot of people can reference back to old contacts one way or another. When I think about it, I'm like, I moved so much that I haven't established that. And it also doesn't help that I'm a severe introvert. So, yeah, yeah, odds are against me. But then again, I don't work hard at fixing it, so I don't know. I wish they didn't use the money for alcohol, but if anybody needs to drown their sorrows with a beer, it's the homeless. In a world of tribalism, one has to create their own tribe. My family, my opinion. I hear you, it makes sense. There are definitely non homeless gypsies and scammers. Um, and on the note of starting your own tribe, a family, that's how I think. I'm thinking, you know what? I'm still young. I'm not married. I don't have kids. So whenever I do get that ball rolling for me, I'm gonna focus on me and my crib. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of feel bad saying that because I'm an overall genuinely caring person. Like if I find out that you have a situation, I will want to do something about it. I cannot just be like, okay, you shared your story. Good luck. You know, I feel like I'm responsible for you now, even though technically I'm not. But I don't like to just turn my back on someone if I know that they're struggling. So, yeah, yeah, huh, interesting. Yeah, a picky homeless that has the nerve to be picky and choosy of how much you give them is ridiculous. Yeah, absolutely. I am a businessman who trying to make it. I am not there yet, but as my business is being built, if it does well, I can have my family be taken care of. After that, be a good father figure. The woman I was dating, my fiance, wanted to have kids now, but I wasn't, still not ready to have kids. And by ready, not finished building my business that's successful, I want to wait until after. Please do that. Keep doing that because children are a completely life-changing experience. I am so aware of that that is why I ain't even trying. I don't even play with that stuff, you know. Um, I also have goals, and becoming a parent does not necessarily compromise those goals for me. It just adds unnecessary complexity and stress that I'm genuinely just not interested in, you know? And first of all, I need to have a functioning relationship, like to where everything works efficiently, because I have no interest in being the sole figure in my children's lives. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that I cannot handle being a single parent. I know I can. My mother did it. But there are consequences that I would love to spare my children from that I suffered and that many other kids suffer as a result, inevitable result of being brought up by a single parent. A single parent can only do so much. So I'm trying to avoid that. Put it that way. Next time they ask for money to eat, buy them some food and give it to them. Yes, usually that's what my teachers used to advise me. Walk away out of their range and see if they throw the food away. You will know if it's bullshit. Having a ceremony or a family ritual is one key to help make sure the family doesn't break up but stay together. I say that because looking at some Italian families, political families, religious groups, they have all rituals that bind them together. You are hilarious. You should be more openly comical. Those that travel and deal with this would be, oh, those that travel and deal with this world by themselves will be dominated by others who operate in a group or tribe. My opinion. Yeah, I get it. Makes sense. I mean, there is so much more that a group of people can accomplish than a single person. Like, I mean, let's pretend building a house. It's going to get done much faster, much more effectively if you have a group of people as opposed to you being the only person doing it. See what I mean? So, yeah, I think, look, man, modern days, we're so divided. Like, these may be significantly more peaceful times when you think about it, but we're really divided. So, I mean, it sucks that that's the way it is, but honestly, I cannot begin to say how I would resolve this. I would say just be aware of what's happening around you. Make the best decisions that you can. Um, really nurture and cherish the good connections that you have. And do not take anything or anyone for granted. That's all I can say. Well, guys, I have to bail on you now because I have an early shift and I'm pretty sure it's past midnight already or coming close to being midnight. So I need to catch some sleep. Tomorrow, it's possible that I will not be filming at all because I have a pretty busy schedule, but maybe I will. But I